station, everyone. Happy new comic book day. Happy Whiplash Wednesday with the PCP Army Bad Batch. That's right, we're at it for another week, and there's great content to be had from the PCP Army Bad Batch. It all started over on Manny's Different Perspectives. That's right, Tomorrow Cinema had a name change, and his name now on YouTube is Manny's Different Perspectives. He's doing great things over on his channel, doing amazing reviews on different types of titles throughout the years. So definitely go check out his channel. Following that is Nick Comic Culture with his Cadets Toys and Comics Look At video, sneak peek video at what they have in their store for New Comic Book Day, what they have for collectibles, toys, and everything else. Then following that is Comics Kings. That's Brandon and Stefan, missing link, chopping it up about Crisis on Infinite Rants. What are they ranting about this week? Tune in and find out. And I'll get to the rest after this video, because right now is chatting with the comic community. And my guest today is somebody who is a huge part of this community. He brings a lot of people together. He's on a ton of people's channels, showing up. Just he loves his DC comics for sure, but he's definitely pulling everybody and rising this community up just as much as Gary B, the casual comic buy guy. So without further ado, let me bring out my guest.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Not too much. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm currently debating with a 1-year-old about the details of Fig Newton bars. It's a good morning. It's a good morning.
That's amazing. So thank you for joining me today. I know you're a little bit busy over there, but you took the time and you're sitting here with me to chat about everything nerdy. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's at the moment, I don't know if I'd call it busy or just active. It's a very active household at the moment.
So the viewers at home that don't know a lot about you, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a comic book collector, a lifelong comic book collector. I have a YouTube channel, like you mentioned, Legion of Comics. Professionally, I work with animals, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's get right into it. How did you get into comic collecting / reading?
I was actually born into it. My dad has been collecting and reading comics since like the early 1960s. He's a hardcore collector and a reader first. You know, he doesn't like buy comics to invest and flip in them. I mean, sold plenty of comics over the years, but it's always to make space. So when I came around, there was already comics as far as I can see in my household. So I grew up knowing and recognizing comic book characters as I learned to talk. And that's where I learned how to read, was in the pages of comic books, because that's what I was drawn to because of how awesome and exciting comics are, especially for kids. So as I grew up, I just continued reading them, continued interest in them. We had the movie properties back then, like this Chris Reeve Superman movie and Michael Keaton Batman, and even the old obscure stuff for back in the day. We had all that in my household. So it was just always something that I was drawn toward, as well as always wanting to be closer to your dad, you know, and having those same interests and stuff. And yeah, it just kind of grew up into it. My first job was at my LCS. Did your cookie break? Her cookie broke.
Aw.
My first job was at my LCS in high school, and it's just something that's always carried with me.
Is she all happy now she got her cookie?
Oh, no, she wasn't sad. She was mad it broke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are big things when you're little people.
Yeah.
The cookie wasn't gone. It just was in 2 pieces now. You have like an idea of how your cookie eating experience is going to go. When something like a cookie breaking changes it, like, I mean, what else is there? Is it good? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You
Hi.
Hey, Trav. Hey.
So growing up, like, of course, I know you're huge. For those that don't know you, like, you're a huge Superman fan. You love Superman. You growing up with Superman. But did you fall onto like collecting Marvel or indies throughout the years?
Oh, dude, I collect and read everything. Like everyone assumes like I'm just like a DC biased person. It's just right now, current comics, DC's putting out better stories. I love superheroes first and foremost. Like look, there's Marvel right behind me, you know. But it kind of just go where the stories go, man. Like it all comes in ebbs and flows. When Marvel's killing it, I find myself drawn to Marvel more, and same thing with DC. And right now, it's just past couple of years, my pull list has leaned more toward DC. But I've always been drawn to Marvel characters, much like everyone has. I absolutely love them. Don't always care for the current stories being written, but Superman, I've had a love-hate relationship over the years. Loved him as a kid, went through those teenage years and some of my 20s, you know, where you're like, oh, he's just the Boy Scout, unrelatable, this, that, and the third, didn't care. And then as I got older and started having kids and stuff, it's like a light bulb went off. Like this is what superheroes are supposed to be. You know, he's not always the most dynamic one to read. He's not always the best book on the shelf by any stretch of the imagination, but he is definitely always the most iconic for me.
Yeah, who would you say that your favorite Superman writer is?
I'm gonna pull a creator answer for you. I'm gonna say Philip Kennedy Johnson because that's who's writing him right now. Because he's absolutely just breathed a breath of fresh air back into the character and has taken him and back to his core values in a way by keeping it new and fresh, that you're still doing something that's not just like beating a dead horse, but you're still honoring the character so well. It's just been amazing going from Bendis's run to Philip Kennedy Johnson taking over and just seeing how that dynamic shift happened. And I don't know, it's just been like one of my favorite times of Superman is right now.
So going back to Marvel, like what would be your first title out of Marvel picking up and getting on a regular?
It'd have to be Hulk. There's no question about it. Hulk is tied for like my all-time. He's just straight up my all-time favorite character. Like that's never changed over my whole life. I've always been biased to the color green. The whole little guy really having the strongest thing in the world inside of him. You know, I grew up being a little guy. It's just always been Hulk. Always been drawn to him. Even when I was younger, I went and sitting there buying monthlies with a pool box, you know, but I'm buying trades all the time. I've been a huge trade reader for most of my life, with my dad always buying and collecting the floppies, knowing that they're always there. It's different for me. I don't have to go buy floppies all the time. If I was wanting to read something, or I just go buy a trade, we'd hit Barnes & Noble or Borders Up often, and I would always get the next Hulk trade whenever it came out. And it was just always drawn to Hulk. Of course, I love the bigger characters, the Fantastic Four and X-Men and Spider-Man and stuff like that. It just Hulk's always been that guy.
Hulk's been your favorite. So, like, are you super pumped for the She-Hulk series that is coming?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm not super pumped at all, but I'm excited for it. You know, I've kind of managed my expectations properly. That I don't like where Hulk has gone in the MCU. I know that Disney, it's a weird place for them and the rights to the character and everything, so it is what it is. And they're also playing to a bigger audience than just comic book readers, which is completely fine. You know, that's their job. And I think Hulk is kind of a wasted potential, but they could do something with him in the future, I guess. But
I find it interesting that in She-Hulk, like if you look at all of the MCU shows coming out, except for a few, like I think it was WandaVision and What If, they had more than 6 episodes. And then She-Hulk is going to have 10 episodes. So I'm kind of curious in what's going on and what's big is going to happen in that episode.
I don't know. I have no clue. The streaming stuff that they started doing, the shows kind of let me down. I thought they had a huge opportunity to make because this has never been done before, you know, like having the silver screen match so heavily with the small screen at home. And they're good shows. They're well made and everything, but I don't know. I think they had a real opportunity to do something so much more with them and make them so much bigger. But they've been all right for the most part. I've enjoyed watching through them. I haven't watched one yet that I'm like, I have to go back and rewatch that. Like, that was awesome. Like, you get the story content that they're going to give you, and I'm like, I'm good now. I don't have to rewatch that.
Yeah, I feel the same way because I haven't really gone back and rewatched any of them. Like I have access to them, but I haven't rewatched any single one of them. It's not like I love my DC content that is on TV right now. I'd love to hear what some of the DC titles you're watching on TV right now.
I'm watching. I'll start with the worst. I started to watch Naomi, which I was excited for because it's a smaller known character that even I'm not like vastly familiar with. There's not a lot of content out there to be familiar with her. I watched that first episode, and it was probably the worst episode of television that's ever been filmed, of all television. It was god awful. Like, and I can give so much a benefit of the doubt. And that's a DC property, you know what I mean? But it was just the worst written, poorly acted crap fest I've ever seen. I'm like, I'm not even watching episode 2. I'm not doing it. So that's out. But Superman and Lois has been phenomenal. Like Berlanti, who produces all the CW stuff, has retooled the CW stuff to where it's not all just Arrowverse. Like this was spawned from that, but it's definitely its own style, its own production design. It looks like a Superman show versus just stuck to a mold of something else. That has just been great. Stargirl is my favorite thing on CW. Again, the same thing. Its own mold, its own style. Love the JSA characters. It's fantastic. I watch all the DC Universe originals, Titans, Doom Patrol, the Harley Quinn show, which I'm excited to see that animated show come back and get that next season. But right now, hands down, like Marvel stuff don't even compare to this, but that Peacemaker show is top notch. Like that's the unicorn of comic book television shows. Like nothing like it's been done. It is just so much fun on every level. It gets you in the feels. The action's fantastic. It's just over the top good time.
To go back to Naomi, you don't have to, like, I watched episode 2 and I'm more confused than ever watching that show. Like I don't know, like it's weird because it's like it's not in the reality where superheroes are like real, but
that's what I was like, yeah, because I know she's not from, well, her parents weren't from our Earth. It's just not clear. It's not clear at all. They don't present it that way, and then they start acting that way, and it's like she's a Superman fan website person, but Superman's not real, or he's here though, but he's
it's very confusing to get into it. That like maybe more is clear in future episodes, but like I watched episode 2 and I nothing was. Yeah, it was just
no resolution. Yeah, like that's correct. Like that's just a horrible way to start something. Like check out this DC show, and then you get in it, and they're like, "What are superheroes?" But I write a superhero blog. What are you talking about? Broke my heart.
No, I was super excited for that. I've been enjoying Superman and Lois. I got caught up on that. I'm on season 2 now, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the introduction of a character that I've been wanting to see for a while on there. I won't spoil it for too many people, but he's the guy that is at the beginning where he goes by the name of Luthor, but we figure out who he is later into the season, and I'm loving that character. Loving
about season 2?
No, he was introduced in season 1.
Oh man, you could spoil season 1. You're talking about John?
I'm talking about Steel, yeah.
Yeah, old John Henry. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Love that. I did not expect that. Whenever it was introduced that he said like, oh, his name's Luthor, I thought it was from a different reality.
It was just the AI talking to the suit. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then Stargirl, yeah, I'm super excited for season 3 of Stargirl, especially how it ended with one of my favorite characters. I got introduced to him in Young Justice, but Sportsmaster. I love what they're doing with Sportsmaster. I love that he's returning in season 3.
He is a blast, isn't he?
Yeah.
Him and his wife are just straight narcissistic psychopaths. Like they're insane, but in a fun way. Hey, monkey. Okay, well, go get that watch from her, please, Finn. Will you get that to Finn? Don't you throw that. Oh, Christ.
So, non-related TV shows that are on right now, like even streaming services, what have you been enjoying that is non-Marvel, non-DC? I know that
Tombstones.
What's that?
Righteous Gemstones on HBO. It's a comedy show. It's hilarious.
Does it have new comedians or just kind of?
It comes out every Monday. Season 2 is, by the time of this airing, season 2 will probably be like 7 episodes in. But it's like Danny McBride, Adam Devine, or however you say his name, and John Goodman. And it's a family of like mega church people out in like middle America that are just absolute savages behind the scenes. And it's hilarious. It is so funny.
I like Adam Devine. That's the guy from like Workaholics, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I was going to say Pitch Perfect, but yep, that's him.
Yeah, it's such a small role in Pitch Perfect, though.
He's hilarious. Old Bumper.
I love how he got the role, because when he went in for it, he thought it was like about baseball. When he went and auditioned for it, so that seems so. It's Righteous Gems. Righteous
Gemstones. The last name of the family are the Gemstones. It's just crazy, man. You can imagine that there's a lot of ad-lib humor in it, and they just kind of go off on tangents that are just, I don't know, it is very intentionally over the top, a lot like Peacemaker. Is the same director for episode 4 of Peacemaker as the guy who's in control of it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds funny. Like, I love John Goodman as well, so definitely have to check that out. To go back on Peacemaker, I want to hear, like, because not gonna lie, you kind of look like Vigilante in a way. So, like, has anybody ever there you go? Has anybody ever told you that?
No, they have not. They have not.
You kind of do. I watched an interview of him, and it's this thing on HBO on YouTube, and that it's called Podly, and they talked with some of the actors on there, and I was watching, and I was like, man, that he does kind of look like Mark. So, but I'd love to hear who your favorite character is of Peacemaker right now.
Oh, Vigilante, by far. He's hilarious. He's outrageous. He was a character. I've been back reading his standalone run for a while now, and I mean, you've seen my stuff. Like, I've had his first appearance. I've got his figure there that my wife got me for our last anniversary and everything. And yeah, he's just been a cool character. Like, I like when they take these underused characters that we don't get enough of, and they put him in the spotlight. And the fact that they did it with him in a way that they kind of reinvented him. They kept they stripped everything away except like the name and the smallest amount of we don't know if his family's actually dead. He said they're dead. So if his family's dead and he has the same name, that's about all that's the same. But they
didn't his dad just pretend to be gay and got away from him?
Oh yeah, that's right. He said, I forgot about that. I went straight back to episode 3 when Harcourt was like, "I'll kill your family." He's like, "Haha, too late." But yeah, we found out in episode 4 that his dad bailed on him and went to go pretend to be gay just to get away from him.
I love it. Like, this show just shows you how it could be comical, but you could actually have feelings for these characters, because like spoilers ahead. I know that it's a while since episode 4 aired, but that ending with with Vigilante and getting in the car, and he's like, "I think I made things worse." I felt that.
Yeah, and then the way that they're putting the music to it. Oh, drop past it, you can grab it. The way that they're putting the music to it in such a great way really just kind of drives the emotions in it. Go get Bobble out of the bed, and I'll make a new one for you. Is that cool? And she stops, just like that. It's like, yeah, I'll go do that. But the way that they're using the soundtrack to really drive it home, and I don't know if it hits for everyone the same, like different ages and stuff. Like, I was born in the 80s, so I wasn't sitting there listening to the top charts when those songs were coming out. But I can remember hearing, growing up, tons of that style of music and everything, and the hair metal bands and stuff. Just like right now, music from 5 years ago, 10 years ago is still prevalent and everything. But I love that era of music, and it really just helped steer the emotional experience of watching the show. And like at the end, when Peacemaker was just kind of dancing around and it's showing that whole montage with Vigilante coming out of the jail and everything, and the flashback to Rick Flag and his brother, and he's just breaking. Like, you feel it for him, you know? You absolutely feel it. And that's a character I hated coming out of the Suicide Squad movie for killing Rick Flag. And I went from hating him to not knowing how I'm going to receive this TV show to my heart's breaking for him now. It's crazy, this shift.
Yeah, and I love how they do play on that, like, Peacemaker, what a joke scene from that movie, and that he's just
come around.
So you said the 80s and that. I'd love to hear. I know we hear a lot of people's like picks on like what they grew up with cartoon wise and TV wise, but I'd love to hear what you grew up with throughout the years.
Well, some of the stuff is, I'm sure you hear all the time. Hold on 1 second, okay? Let's tell him what kind of cartoons we like. So I like, some of it is like generic. Like, definitely grew up on the Ninja Turtles and 90s era stuff. Like I was at an age where I would still watch it, but I wouldn't like go out of my way to watch it. But like when Johnny Bravo set off and Dexter's Lab set off, I remember when they had that event on Cartoon Network where they showed like, it was like 50 different cartoons, just episode ones of cartoons, and they picked certain ones out of it to see which one would become TV shows. So those were pretty fun. Like for me, it was really not as many cartoons as it was actually shows. Like Power Rangers kicked off when I was in kindergarten. Like that was everything. That was it for me. But Turtles, Power Rangers, and other than that, it was like superhero stuff. Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, like that was 100 of it. You had the Marvel Action Hour hitting me when I was a kid with the Fantastic Four cartoon and stuff like that. And the Hulk animated show came out. The second one, there was one in the 80s, but that 90s one was in it. Iron Man. Tell him what TV shows you like.
What kind of cartoons you like?
What's your favorite TV show? Finn, what's your favorite TV show?
True in the Rainbow Kingdom.
True in the Rainbow Kingdom.
That's what it is. And Paw Patrol.
And
the
Paw
movie
Patrol.
of Paw Patrol.
And the movie of Paw Patrol.
And that's all my favorite movies are.
All right, well, real quick, Finn, I'm going to need your help, okay?
What is it?
I need you to sit here, tell Travis real quick your favorite movie while I take 30 seconds to make Sister a New Bauble. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got the floor.
The movie of a Paw Patrol and the movie of Junk.
Have you watched Ron's Gone Wrong yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. You will love it. I love that movie. I laughed so hard, and it was just so amazing. Have you watched Mitchell's versus the Machines yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's another great one. You gotta tell. What's that?
What's that called? I don't know what that called yet.
You don't know what that's called? Oh, it was all about like these machines taking over the world and that. And the Mitchells were a family, and they tried to stop the invasion of robots taking over the world.
Over the world?
Yeah.
Why do I do that every time?
Hey, don't.
He's like, this is my show now.
Yeah.
Myself.
Okay.
Not yours. Mine.
So he's big on Paw Patrol. She's big on Frozen right now. All right, hey. Don't get all crazy, man. Chill out. Yeah.
We were talking about Ron's Gone Wrong and Mitchell's versus Machines.
Yeah. We watched Ron's Gone Wrong with the robot. Mitchell's versus the Machines was crazy fun. That one was I didn't see that one coming. There's a lot of stuff. There's so many new cartoons, movies, shows with all these streaming services that he goes like to my pop's house and hangs out. And he comes home asking to watch something I have never heard of it. I don't know what streaming service to find it on, all kinds of stuff.
Have you watched True in the Rainbow Kingdom yet?
He has not watched True in the Rainbow Kingdom. See, that's another weird one. It's like I think it's like a Korean cartoon or something that's put in American, and it's like their Mickey Mouse clubhouse. Like she has a book bag that she can pull her little tools out of, like Mickey does with his whatever. But yeah. All right, go play, buddy.
So to go back on Power Rangers, because like Power Rangers has been out for years and that, and I remember falling in love. I loved the first, and then of course they continued with it. I did love Turbo. I'm probably the only one that liked Turbo for some odd reason when I was a kid. Just because it was the fact that there was a kid. I was a kid, and all of a sudden I see a kid becoming a Power Ranger. It's like, yeah, freak yeah, I don't have to be a teenager. So that's probably why
an honorable kid or a teenager with attitude. Those are the requirements.
Yeah. So when did you fall off Power Rangers?
Fall off?
Yeah. Or are you still on it?
No, I never fell off Power Rangers like my whole life.
Oh, like, wow.
I started with Mighty Morphin. I went through Zero, and when Turbo hit, like I liked Turbo when it came out too. When it came out, like it was the next thing, you know. I thought that the Zords were kind of lame compared to what we had seen earlier. And then you hit an age in school where you're not like keeping up with it as much. You find other interests, you're doing other stuff with friends. And so when it hit this, what was it, Space was after that or something. And I kind of like watched that one here and there. I didn't really stay in it and follow it like I did with the other stuff. But I kept watching like Mighty Morphin stuff. I had the movie, I have the Turbo movie. We had a lot of VHSs of like the little multi-part events like Green with Evil. And I would go back and watch those things. And I had collected the figures as a kid. Like I didn't grow out of that.
You watch Superman?
He does watch Superman. But
then when Superman.
Like I think it kind of, it just always lingered. There's a love for it and all that. And I would peek in on it when it'd come on, but I stopped following it as heavily around Space.
Yeah, I get that. It's sometimes hard, but like you collect all of the comic books as well. I'm interested to like, I know who owned it before. Was it IDW that owned Power Rangers before Boom, or was it Dark Horse?
I don't know. I know Image put out a one-shot. Hamilton had the comic books, then Marvel had the comic books, then Image had a one-shot for Zeo, and then Boom took off with it. I don't know if there was a Dark Horse or an IDW, anything in between there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Fable and Big Herm and Robbie. They all pick up Power Rangers all the time and continue to say it's great. Like, where would you say if somebody wanted to pick up Power Rangers, where to jump in at?
To jump in? That doesn't go on there, Monkey.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't. Man, that's hard to say. Cause it's I can imagine it can be real confusing real easily. But when they did the series split about 15 issues ago, they took the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger title and very uncreatively split it into two titles, one called Mighty Morphin and one called Power Rangers. I mean, that would probably be the easiest jumping on point. It only puts you about 30 issues behind.
30 issues behind.
Yeah, because you got to read both of them. They might as well have just kept it one title, just bi-monthly, because that's what you get. You get two titles a month where both of them matter to the one story going on.
All right. So moving on from, let's talk about a little bit of movies that you loved growing up. I know, of course, we got the Fantastic Four that came out earlier on. I remember I think I was 15 when that movie came out. But before that, I think I was 11 whenever the X-Men movie came out. Were you watching those, or were you watching totally different things?
Hell yeah, I was watching those, man. Like, those were like midnight premiere, opening day kind of events. Like we didn't play no games. I was watching this Fantastic Four growing up.
Oh.
So there was all kinds of obscure stuff out there that you could get and everything.
I don't know. That Ben Grimm kind of looks a little weird.
Yeah, he looks weird. Definitely looks weird. But I was for it. But dude, Fantastic Four, all that, it goes back to before that. It was Blade, man. Blade, I was hooked on. Like, I was familiar with Blade when that movie came out. It was a comic book movie, and it was insane. Like, that was crazy. And I think Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire coming out just changed the world. X-Men was cool. I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed X-Men, but it didn't blow me away. I'm like, cool, they made an X-Men movie. For me as a kid, the suits, you lost me not putting them in their suits. You had them all in these black outfits that kind of matched each other, and I'm like, man, come on, man, where are their suits? And so for me, it was Spider-Man that set it off. I loved the first Fantastic Four movie. Again, it was like 02, 03, something like that. I don't know, 05 maybe, I don't know, but dude, that movie was so much fun. Like, for somebody who just loved comics and this was all we've had at that point, I had no complaints about it other than it was too short. These kids are trying me.
So I agree though. Like Spider-Man definitely had me hooked the most. Like I had so much excitement, especially seeing like the reflection off of his eyes whenever in that movie. It was just fan freaking tastic. And that the X-Men didn't catch me. I agree. The suits were the parts that took me right out of it, and it didn't feel like the X-Men I watched like growing up.
I completely agree. I'll tell you that by the time the second one came out, and having got X-Men on VHS for Christmas the year it came out and watched it 1,000 times, I would put it in every day. I had all the movie toys. So by the time it came out, like I was like into it more. I was still upset we didn't have the suits, but I think I had conditioned myself from rewatching it so much because you didn't have streaming service and this, so you watched your movies on tape all the time. So by the time the second one came out, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I expected not to have the suit, so it wasn't even a real thought in my head. Seeing Colossus walk in the room in that one scene and drop his armor down, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and that I do like how if I would have to rate them, like going back to the X-Men 1 movie or First Class, I would have to give it to First Class. At least they tried to do it with the suits in that, and they gave us some new characters in that I was very, very interested in.
First Class, yes.
So, but yeah, what other movies did you love growing up? I know you had some. You mostly grew, like you said, you were born in the 80s, but the prime was probably the 90s for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, if we're talking outside of comic movies, Alien, Predator, and Terminator were life for me. That was like in my mind, like the first shared universe, even though like you don't see it much in the movies until they actually cross over Alien and Predator. You had the Dark Horse comics that was already doing stuff like that and explaining connections and stuff. So those movies were and still are like top of my favorite stuff for outside of comic book movies.
I never really got into the Predator. I love Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is probably my favorite. But I'm more of an Alien fan than a Predator fan, so I'm always above on the Aliens more than the Predator. I enjoy Alien better. But other than that, I loved everything from the 90s growing up in that. I want to hear what you thought about newer movies that came out in the 2000s. I know that there's a few of them like that came out. Transformers came out. Were you all on board for that?
Oh, hell yeah. So the Transformers cartoon, that's before we were born, and it wasn't one that was very syndicated here in the States. So like I'd seen the Transformer movie, but it wasn't one that we owned when I was a kid. So it wasn't one that I was able just to go grab and put in and just go crazy on. But Transformers toys were fun, you know. Beast Wars was my era. That was on TV. Loved Transformers Beast Wars. You know, I had the Optimus Gorilla toy. Got that for Christmas one year. I had the purple T-Rex Megatron thing. And yeah, like so that was that era. Yeah, exactly. Got that for Christmas. So that was that era where computer graphics were also starting to become a thing as well, you know. So if you go back and look at it, it's very crude. It's very simplistic. But dude, as a kid and having not seen like high def computer graphics, that was mind blowing. So that was great. When the Michael Bay stuff came out, I'm a Michael Bay fan. Big movie guy, you know. Ran a movie stop for years. And I know Michael Bay is just all explosions and no real substance, but that's what an action movie is sometimes. It's just supposed to be a spectacle. And And I think that he did an amazing job with the Transformers stuff. I think the second one wasn't like, I think it was the least out of all of them, but it was still fun. Like watching those things transform for the first time, like my brain couldn't process it. I'm like I'm trying to think in my head, like that went there, that went here, like that was just a helicopter. Like when Blackout first stood up in that first movie in the opening scene, I'm like, what just happened? So we actually watched Transformers 1 yesterday. Like the kids love it. I've got like special edition box sets with actual reels from them filming in it, signed by Michael Bay and stuff. Like they're just fun movies, man. They're great action movies. Love sci-fi too.
I loved. What did you think of Bumblebee? I loved Bumblebee when it came out.
Dude, yeah, seeing the Gen 1 stuff, it was like getting that whole mind-blowing experience all over again.
And yeah, like you had Kate Bishop in it, and we got to really see her chops in that.
And she's fun. She's just fun to watch on screen.
Yeah, and of course, John Cena was in that one too, right? Yeah. So I've been loving everything. I think there's a movie that just dropped. I think it was on Netflix, Playing with Fire, and that he's in that with a few other people. I can't think of their names right now.
Fireman or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that later.
It's Always Sunny on Hulu earlier. I know you're in the island state of Croatia, out in the Atlantic or something, but it's on Hulu here. I just noticed that for the first time this morning when I was turning on It's Always Sunny. I was like, is that John Cena on that thumbnail? So I don't know if it's a kids movie or not. I think I saw kids and a dog or something on the thumbnail image for it, but yeah, he's awesome. I don't know if you've seen the movie called Vacation Friends. It's a Hulu original, outrageous, hard R-rated comedy. You got to check it out. He's great in that.
And then there was Blockers. Well,
yes,
Blockers. That was freaking amazing as well.
I like how he played the straight-laced guy.
Well, it's funny too because I've been talking with people that know him in his wrestling career, and he seemed like that straight-laced guy. Like he didn't seem like he would swear in that. So when everybody is seeing him swear in Peacemaker, they're freaking like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yes. My wrestling stuff kind of stopped, I think, when I was in like 6th grade. I kind of got out of it. Like the height of the WCW with the NWO and the Wolfpack, that was my era. So John Cena kind of came in after me. Like I was familiar with him. I knew he was a wrestler and all that, recognized him, knew his little gimmick thing, but I didn't actually watch wrestling at that time. So I knew of him, which I think has really helped me out watching the stuff. Because I've talked to a good bit of people that say, oh, I don't want to watch Peacemaker. I don't care for John Cena, blah, blah, blah. But they've all been big wrestling fans. So I guess that it's their whatever they're bringing with them from watching him in wrestling, they just don't have an interest in his stuff. And I tell them all the time, like, you won't expect what you see. You got to check it out. Like, this is not John Cena wrestling personality. This is wild.
Yeah, it's just like I think it was this whole thing with even The Rock. Whenever he came over to acting in that, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we're not interested in that." And like, just some cocky guy like raising his eyebrow.
Yeah, Rock was my era. That was my favorite WWF wrestler during the Attitude Era. And when they came out with the Rundown with him and Sean William Scott, when he was a retrieval expert, me and my dad went and saw it. Mind blown. Like I'm like, this is the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the big action movie star. Like this guy's got it, and he does, man. He's still got it all these years later. Like he's the man. Like Black Adam, let's go.
Well, with that being said, like, what are some of like the future projects? It doesn't have to just be DC; it could be Marvel as well. That you're super pumped for coming forth.
So I'll take it a little bit farther. So all the future movie projects, whether it be DC, Marvel, neither that I'm excited for, in order would probably be the Batman, Aquaman 2, The Flash, and Black Adam. There's my top 4 right there, despite anything else. Like 2022, I'm hoping DC takes off. And it's not just because I enjoy DC. Again, I love Marvel stuff. I watch movies outside of that, but those 4 projects just look so fun. I love the first Aquaman movie. Black Adam is a beast, and I can't wait for them to like go this direction with it. I want to see what Flash does to kind of put a bow on what we've had with DC and kind of open us up to the future of it. And the Batman is self-explanatory, so watch the trailer.
Yeah, I know that, like, what is it? We're getting a Batgirl. Like, that's what's coming into the Flash. It's what they're going to introduce and stuff and kind of do that Flashpoint. And what are we going to get? Like a Batgirl movie in the future?
I don't know if it's a movie or a show that they're working on. I think I don't even want to speculate on it because I've seen stuff switch and change because again with like this whole HBO deal with DC Comics and everything. I've seen like the Blue Beetle thing was announced as a television show at first, and then it got upgraded to a movie. So I don't know, but I know that they're talking about bringing this actress in to do work with the Supergirl that's introduced or something, and a lot of it's just rumors. But I just don't know. I just know that the potential for DC to take off and like start pumping out some consistent content is really high. You know, they've had a lot happen in the past handful of years, from AT&T merger or buyout to the restructuring at DC itself about a year and a half ago, you know, where a lot of people left. They changed who was in charge and everything, brought in new writers, and same thing was going on with the WB end of it. You know, they just haven't had a lot of it's been very unsettled on the business end of it. You know, I think that has a huge hand, and it really shows in the work they're putting out, where Disney bought Marvel and kind of put them on the path they're on right now, you know, and that's a very consistent company. You know, they haven't had all this dynamic shift. They've been able to lay out a plan and execute it really uninterrupted by things out of their control. So I'm excited for DC to show me what they can do with that same opportunity, even though we're still waiting on this Discovery buyout from them. So we'll see.
Now, I could be wrong, but is Zack Snyder, like, is there a possibility that he could be coming back and writing a TV show for HBO Max?
I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Oh, okay. That's what I heard. Like, I think it was like Kevin Smith was talking about it, because like when he was talking about Zack Snyder.
I love Kevin to death, but that dude in the past year really let me down with what he says versus what he does.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just that he has a close relationship with Zack Snyder, and he did open up the kind of the premiere for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, Kevin Smith has got real close ties to DC in general. You know, he's written comics for him, and I don't know if you remember it, but back in the day, I think it was right before Batman v Superman came out, they hosted this event. It was almost like the first DC fandom. This was years ago now, I think like 2015. It premiered on WB or something. It was a 2-hour show hosted by Kevin Smith, showing you the layout and future projections of DC, what was going to be coming out on the CW, the lineup of the movies from Suicide Squad to the Cyborg standalone to Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. Just when they first announced all those, before it got messed up, taken away, restructured, changed, and all that. And he was the host for it. When the DC streaming service dropped, you know, it's just now the DC Universe app for reading and stuff. That's where they had Titans, Doom Patrol, Harley, Swamp Thing. Those shows started on that app. He did the 2-hour launch of that app live. You know, like, he's real close ties with DC. His daughter was one of the premier hosts of their DC Daily show that went for a long time on the streaming service, which I was watching like religiously. I'd wake up and fire it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I never watched that, but I remember seeing her there, like Harley Quinn Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been very interesting. Like, why did they stop doing that?
Oh, because they were just like it's the people that ran like a web show, you know, like they're still doing their thing on their respective platforms. But I think it was just too big too soon. And they had other ideas to try to like bring those viewers to the HBO platform, because they're all owned by the same people. HBO, Warner Brothers, DC, it's all under the same bigger umbrella. So I think they're just trying to, I'm sure it all goes back to money. They're just trying to tighten up and funnel money to one source to make it profitable. But
I think with now that HBO Max is like, because it's now considered the home of DC content, like DC streaming content. I think they're going to go the distance with it now. Like they're going to be able to go further with it. Peacemaker being the like great example of what they could do
Yes.
with this with HBO Max. So I'm super excited to see what they like spawn out from there.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Green Lantern show that's in the works. Like, I'm really excited about that. I don't think they're going to go the route of Hal Jordan, and I think like he's kind of treated like Bruce Wayne is. You know, you have all these Bat shows and Bat properties, but they never want to put Bruce Wayne on the small screen. You know what I mean? Like they want to save him for the big screen. So I think that we're going to get which I'm excited for if they bring. I know Alan Scott has been casted. He's like my favorite Green Lantern. He's not part of the core. He's the Golden Age Green Lantern from the JSA. But core-wise, if there's such an awesome, like wide variety of core members to play with, from John Stewart to Guy Gardner to Kyle Rayner, like the Green Lantern of the '90s, to all the off-Earth Guardians that would just be great to see on screen. You know, like. There's so much potential you can do with it, just to do a great sci-fi show, like an intergalactic police show. Like that would just be awesome.
I know, like, okay, I did fall off Batwoman, but I'm glad that I went back. It did get better, in my opinion. And then the most recent episode, they're still hinting at John Dickel as the Green Lantern of that world.
I couldn't care less. Like I remember watching the Crisis event when it happened, when he opened that and you saw the green light. I'm like, no, man, no. But in all sincerity, he's like Marvel's Rick Jones for the CW stuff. He's like the thing that connects everything together. You know, he made his little cameo on Superman and Lois even. But I'd rather see one of our Green Lanterns as Green Lantern. That's just me. We got Jade and Stargirl. That's Alan Scott's daughter.
Yeah, we did. Like that was fantastic. And then we're gonna get more of like her brother's gonna come into it as well.
Season 3, Obsidian's on the way. Yeah, it's about to get real dark.
And I love who's voicing Mr. Bones.
Who was it? I didn't see.
I think it was like the guy who voiced Spawn in the HBO Max
Okay, yeah.
HBO series, animated series.
It's not the Allstate guy.
Or wait,
David Keith or something like that.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was him, or it was the guy from. There's a couple of guys that kind of sound similar. The guy that's voiced Spawn, and then there was the guy that was later on.
The Allstate guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He was later on in Community, the show Community. But I'm super excited for season 3 of Stargirl. When is that supposed to drop?
Oh, I don't know when when it's hitting. I know it hasn't been long. Yeah, it's him, David Keith or Keith David. I'm looking at the picture of him. I can't ever get his name right.
I think it's just a fantastic voice and how they did it. Like I know Stargirl is over on the CW now, and it is hard for. I wonder if it's going to jump back over to HBO Max to get more.
Man, I don't know. I think like they're probably going to keep it there. Unfortunately, I think if they can get Swamp Thing back up and running, I think we'd be in really good standing, because Stargirl fits with the CW brand. Guys, chill out. I see you got a train. Stargirl fits with the brand, you know, like you don't have to like edit it for content and stuff and all that kind of crap. But Swamp Thing does not fit the CW brand. You know, it was definitely an R-rated show, and I know that they released it edited on CW, but I can't imagine like getting the proper full experience of it like that. So if we can get that fired back up on HBO, we'd be in a great place.
Yeah, it's just weird though. Like they have shows like DC Legends of Tomorrow, which seems like it has gotten really risky with like a lot of the content that they do on that show now. Like it's kind of weird what they do on there. And considering it CW is for kids and that, like they're pushing the boundaries on that show for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say kid. It's definitely a young adult, like teenager, older teenager service.
Yeah. But I love Swamp Thing, man, and I agree. Like, it didn't get just released. Like, it just released on the DC platform that they had, and then nothing else came of it after that. Not enough views, or it cost too much.
They had, this is another example of like the people who are in charge and running things made a huge error. So they made an error with tax credits filming in North Carolina, where they were supposed to receive like some big number of like 1 point something million in tax credits back for filming there, but they messed up on the paperwork or didn't do something right, so they didn't get that tax credit back. So that tanked the show. After episode 1 premiered is when like the behind the scenes stuff came back that they were not going to receive their tax credits, and the show couldn't go forward with it because of that. Like, dude, we can't even finish the last 2 episodes. We're going to have to condense it down and just put a finale on what we have made. So it went 2 episodes shorter than was scripted, and they had to cancel it at around the exact same time as episode 1 premiering. Heartbreaking for not just us, the viewers. Think of the actors. Think of the people that work on the set filming it. You know, think of the community in North Carolina that might have like been some way directly or indirectly attached to benefiting from the filming of it there. Like the businesses that were able to like be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like so many people were affected by stupid stuff that should never happen ever. You know?
Yeah.
A financial error. That's insane.
I really hope they bring it back, because that was it was well done for what they did with it. And like, yeah, like they tried to make a horror, like it is a horror TV show with a DC property, and I think they'd like killed it with that.
Yeah, and the best thing was like they could have been building up to Justice League Dark even, because we know HBO was like that was something they were talking on before the launch of it. Like, we're getting DC, we want to do this, we want to do Green Lantern, we want to do Justice League Dark, and they introduced Madame Xanadu in there. They introduced Blue Devil in there. You know, we had some stuff coming. They did the origin of Jason Woodrue in that first season. We never get to see him. We never get to see him as Woodrue. Like, man, it was just heartbreaking.
Now, going forward, like I keep going back to Peacemaker just because like it's the thing that's on there, and we can go like further with it. I want James Gunn to come in and do a Batmite TV show, like just a short.
That would be something cool for them to do, just like a series of shorts. Like
make it animated.
Give us an episode of Matter Eater Lad eating a Wendy's.
Yeah, like he introduced so many characters without even introducing them.
Hey.
Hi.
You know, Matter Eater Lad is even part of the Legion of Superheroes. So he's made canon the Legion of Superheroes, Batmite, Dollman, who's a member of the Freedom Fighters with Uncle Sam, and like there's so much they can do if they wanted to do just like little spin-off shorts like you mentioned. Like he has expanded the DC universe so big in just these few short episodes. It's wild.
And he was doing this, like he was writing all of this right when he was doing Peacemaker. Like, or not Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad. Like he did it like all at the same time, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so it ties in so well. Can you imagine if he was able to be given the keys to the creative kingdom for the TV show and film direction for DC? Like we would be fine. Like we would be fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping that happens, because like he has done great work with Guardians of the Galaxy. He has great things coming with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then a short, the Christmas special.
For Guardians?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So like I'm super excited to see what anything James Gunn has to offer with DC and Marvel. But I'm hoping that DC kind of like holds on to him just a little bit and says like, we want you to kind of write and create, because like he wrote and directed like every episode of Peacemaker.
Yeah, well he's got Jody Hill helping direct with him, who's like a stable at HBO, like who's done great work with them over the years. So he's overseeing everything. Jody Hill directed episode 4, and we're yet to see who. That's a lot of work for somebody like James Gunn, who works on the silver screen, to be tied down to film or direct all 8. I think it is supposed to be 8 episodes. But
I think it was 7. I could
7?
be wrong though.
It's 7.
Mm-hmm.
She said it's 7.
All right.
I trust her with my life.
And it helps that James Gunn's girlfriend is working on the set too. Like Harcourt is his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, they met a while ago. I forget how it was. It was a weird thing that happened. It was like just a picture. He saw a picture of her, and then he wanted to meet her. So
like, I will have that. What was that? Wedding Crashers. I will have that.
So I just think it's fantastic. But yeah, like we're hitting that hour mark, and that I just want to say thank you for joining me on this amazing day. It's been a fantastic talk.
I appreciate you hanging out with all 3 of us.
But Whiplash Wednesday is continuing. Next up is Nick Comic Culture with his second video of the day. He is overcompensating again for something, but he has his whole video, see what he picked up, why he picked it up, and it gives you a little bit of a reason why he picked it up as well. So go check that out. And then ending the night in fashion is Big Herm Collectibles, Fable, and Missing Link. That's Stefan, dude, talking about Let's Talk About It Remastered. Always a fun time over there. And also, if you want to follow more of what Mark is bringing, go check him out on Instagram and YouTube. The link is down below. #WeAreLegion. Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a fantastic conversation with you, and that I'm glad you took some time. I know you're a little busy over there trying to juggle with 2 kids.
We're active.
Active, sorry. But it was fun talking with Finn as well.
Hey, Travis said bye.
Bye, Travis. Bye, Travis.
Bye. And as always, my friends, station and stay nerdy.